to goons and rogue police officers to carry out illegal attacks and assassination of Kenyans. Look at the classic example of Dr. Victoria Mutiso, who was assassinated on 19th July 2026, and lawyer Matthew Chalo Bob on 9th September 2025 by senior police officers in a feud related to personal property. This heinous murder was planned and executed by police officers from Kikuyu Police Station. This police station, as I've said, is a crime scene and an assassination empire. This is a situation in 4 years William Ruto has achieved to put up an assassination team available for hire by Kenyans who may want to eliminate other Kenyans. Rachel Wandeto was doused with petrol on the allegation of having a tattoo on her breast. CS Kipchumba Murkomen IG Douglas Kaja visited her in hospital. William Ruto vowed that the killers would be arrested. They said her death was motivated by certain political leaders. The scheme was planned and orchestrated by CS Murkomen and a nominated senator. Despite William Ruto having instructed that the killers be arrested, 3 months down the line, nobody has been arrested. Nobody will be arrested because she was killed by the police. The Reverend Dumia Kariuki of PCA Nakuru, a vocal church leader, was killed by Nairobi Sierra, a squad formed by Kipchumba Murkomen to intimidate the PCA church to agree to sell their properties in Mombasa, Nairobi, Kajiado to William Ruto. The U.S. State Department, Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, and the Independent Medical Legal Unit have documented over 700 cumulative cases of extrajudicial killings and forced disappearances across Kenya since late 2022 when William Ruto came to power. And with, of course, notable surge tied to the 2024 Gen Z protests, where 60 young boys and girls were killed. Mr. William Ruto, it is also important to note that alcohol and drug substance abuse is on a record high in the country. And the climax was when William Ruto appointed 2 known drug barons into his cabinet. William Ruto has therefore deliberately allowed the menace to grow in sections of the country that are not politically aligned to him. While serving as the country's deputy president, I ensured and chaired a multi-agency stakeholder meetings across country to exhaustively examine the root causes, extent, and impact of this growing disaster, with an aim of offering solutions. The initiatives were aimed at informing major government policy, measures, and prescribing interventions and actions to address alcohol and drug demand reduction, supply suppression, and harm reduction. Under my leadership then, I strengthened the intergovernment collaboration and coordination in fighting alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse. I proposed several amendments of national and legal and county legal provisions on alcohol and drug control, coordinated and multidisciplinary licensing regime of alcoholic outlets where all stakeholders were involved, and proposed the establishment of county treatment and rehabilitation centers. I held high-level engagement sessions with the judiciary to fast-track alcohol, drug, substance abuse matters before then. William Ruto's 4 years have achieved unwarranted, excessive availability of drugs to our young people, killing them and leaving others as zombies. I'm confident that on August 10, 2027, we will revisit this program and eradicate this vice in totality. The following are some of Kenyans who have been abducted and disappeared recently. Mark Million Carey, he was abducted in Nairobi. Michael Olo, abducted in Nairobi. Families wept in the Milimani High Court demanding his release. His last location was along Kagudo Road. Evans Omondi, abducted alongside Olo and Carey. Abdulaziz Duba Molu, alias Zizo, abducted in Kiamaiko on June 23, 2026 by armed individuals in civilian clothing and police uniforms. Davis Lichuma, a rights activist seized by the masked operatives outside Parliament, later traced to a hospital heavily battered. Omwancha Clifford Evans, listed among the recent abductees by local human rights groups. Manyura Morisori Douglas, still missing following a wave of clandestine security enforcement operations. Jimmy Mtava Mwanzi, abducted in Mlolongo, not seen to date. He was abducted at the instructions of DIG Langat. Dennis Chege, an activist who was said to be involved in the Gen Z protests, vanished and remains completely unaccounted for to date. Brian Stigo, an Nakuru fisherman, who mysteriously went missing in 2022 under similar contested operations at Lake Nakuru National Park. The plan promised Kenyans that the National Coroner Service Act of 2017 will be amended to establish the Coroner General's Office. The objective and aim of this amendment was to remove the burden of investigating suspicious and police action deaths from regular police channels and DCI. Further, the amendment of the Act was aimed at removing potential conflict of interest and ensuring absolute transparency in handling and explaining deaths, enforced disappearances, or fatalities resulting from the law enforcement operations. 4 years later, this promise has not been fulfilled. National Coroner Service Amendment Bill 2026 was officially published in the Kenya Gazette on April 16, 2026, and received by the Directorate of Legal Services in July 2026. It is currently at the introduction and pre-reading stage in the National Assembly, awaiting formal first reading and committal to the relevant departmental committee. Mr. William Ruto has also facilitated acts of transnational repression against foreigners in Kenya. More specifically, on July 24, 2024, 36 Ugandans, members of a Ugandan opposition political party, as part of a joint Kenya-Ugandan Security Agency operation, and were forcibly returned to Uganda. On October 18, 2024, 7 Turkish asylum seekers were abducted in Nairobi by masked men. Kenya later confirmed it forcibly deported 4 of them to Turkey in a joint security operation, citing bilateral ties, drawing severe condemnation from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and Human Rights. On November 16, 2024, Kiza Bisinje, leader of another Ugandan opposition party, was kidnapped by Ugandan agents while visiting Nairobi. Kenya government officials claimed they were unaware of the abduction, but the Ugandan authorities maintained it was a coordinated action between the two governments. Tanzania journalist and human rights activist Maria Sarangi was on Sunday, 12 January 2025, almost abducted here in Nairobi. Prominent Zimbabwean constitutional lawyer and human rights defender Brian Kagoro was detained and deported from Kenya on February 22, 2026. Intercepted by immigration and national intelligence officers at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, he was held for over 10 hours and subsequently put on a flight back to Johannesburg, South Africa. In March 2026, 2 officials from the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation were deported from. Upon seeking a statutory review of the procurement process, William Ruto and Kipchumba Murkomen deported the complainants' local agents, clearing the way for their preferred entity, China Road and Bridge Corporation, CRBC, a company that has bagged procurement tenders worth 1.2 Kenya trillion since 2022 when William Ruto came to power. China Road and Bridge Corporation is the international conduit for corrupt proceeds in Kenya under the personal and direct supervision of William Ruto. I must say Kenyans are not safe, our children are not safe, investors are not safe, tourists are not safe, no foreigner is safe. And I must say, foreigners, investors, tourists, your own security starts with you. I ask the members of our development partners and foreign embassies accredited to Kenya to ensure that their staff and citizens are safe within the boundaries of Kenya. On protecting the liberties enshrined in our Constitution, William Ruto has breached the freedom of expression in Article 33 and the freedom of media in Article 34, Constitution of Kenya 2010. On 26 June 2026, 4 police officers from the dreaded killer squad, armed with AK-47 assault rifles, attempted to abduct the Standard Group Nakuru-based associate editor, Mr. Alex Kiprotich. This attack is a defiance to truth and total on the freedom of media, as stipulated in Article 34 and 35 of our Constitution. In the last 4 years, several media houses, including the Nation Media Group, the Standard Media Group, MediaMax Network, and several journalists were subjected to online campaign and disinformation campaign by the government of William Ruto. Reports show that 24 cases of violence towards journalists were recorded during the 2024 Gen Z protests. The Kenya Kwanza Covenant pledged to root out corruption, guarantee financial autonomy for key oversight bodies, and enforce Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya on leadership and integrity. Mr. William Ruto has broken this covenant to the people of Kenya and instead orchestrated outright plundering of the country's resources for his personal benefit and enrichment. On 31st December 2024, Mr. William Ruto was ranked as the second most corrupt president in the world by the Organized Crime and Reporting Project. Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index ranked Kenya number 130 out of 108 countries globally, with a score of 30 out of 100, reflecting persistent stagnation and public mistrust. Mr. William Ruto's administration has entrenched corruption as a way of life, and it remains systematic, pervasive, and deeply rooted in public service delivery and high-level governance. Mr. William Ruto's Western Hotel has been the leading recipient of government hospitality and catering tenders, securing 37 public contracts valued at hundreds of millions for the period ending June 2026. Contracts have come from state corporations, state departments, and county assemblies. It is clear that William Ruto is in competition with local entrepreneurs, where he flexes his executive powers and gives priority registration that enriches himself and his cronies at the expense of other hardworking Kenyans. I want to bring to the attention of the people of Kenya some of the biggest scandals that we have witnessed in the last 4 years. In the current financial year, State House budget has grown from Kenya shillings 8 billion to 18 billion Kenya shillings, an increment of over 10 billion Kenya shillings. These are the funds that are used to bribe the people of Kenya. And lately, sheikhs, private security officers, village elders, teachers, chiefs, etc. Under the e-Citizen, a special audit report by the Office of the Auditor General exposed major financial and governance weaknesses, noting that over Kenya shillings 11 billion in collections lacking clear documentation or routed through non-designated accounts alongside irregular payments to private entities. The functionless chief system was procured at a cost of 104 billion Kenya shillings, and an independent assessment of this system shows that it is worth 800 million, leaving theft and plunder of public resources of 103 billion Kenya shillings. SHA makes a loss of 6 billion shillings a month. Hospitals and faith-based organizations and counties are owed 105 billion to date. As I've said before, SHA is insolvent and everybody knows it. On the affordable housing program, the Office of the Auditor General reports that have flagged major legal and operational risks regarding fund utilization, including untraceable international development loans, low fund absorption, and missing land ownership documentation for ongoing projects. Further, the levies deducted from Kenyan payslips are invested in a third-party financial service firm licensed by the Capital Markets Authority. How are their fees determined? How much has been paid out to date? What is his association with William Ruto? On the restoration of Nairobi rivers, Mr. William told Kenyans that on December 25, the Nairobi River will have fish. Can members of the press visit this river tomorrow and bring us one piece of fish? This government committed itself to protecting public assets, strengthening governance, eliminating corruption and ensuring that public resources would be managed solely in the interests of the people of Kenya. It promised a government founded on transparency, accountability, and prudent stewardship of national resources. On the divestiture of the Kenya pipeline, has Kenya surrendered its ownership and control to a neighboring country? What was the rationale of forcing Kenyan state corporations to invest public funds in a public entity? Who is the mysterious lead transaction advisor, stroke investment banker, that was the face of the IPO? How did he acquire his Kenyan citizenship, and whose interest does he represent? Mr. William Ruto and Senator Aaron Cheriot must come clear on their relationship with this mysterious dual citizen investment banker. On the sale of government's equity stake in Safaricom to Vodacom at 204 billion Kenya shillings, it was a rip-off. Each share was grossly undervalued at 34 Kenya shillings. Why didn't William Ruto allow the use of an open price discovery, or even better, allow a regulated cooperative and SACCO fraternity with over 1 trillion in deposits at the end of December 2025 buy out this stake? Aren't the cooperative society members hard-working, deserving Kenyans? What happened to Buy Kenya, Build Kenya? Or is it Buy Kenya, Build Ruto? Other national assets, such as the new KCC, Kenya Ports Authority, and Kenya Airways, have been strategically targeted for sale. What is the rationale of selling our heritage? Had hard-working Kenyans remit over 100 billion Kenya shillings monthly to the National Social Security Fund, NSSF. These funds now have been targeted for budgeted corruption and ring-fenced to fund infrastructural development projects such as the Mau Summit Road, Twin Towers Commercial Building, and the Bomas of Kenya International Conference Center. Is this really prudent? Are our pensioner funds safe? What is the role of the mysterious dual citizen investment banker in structuring the fund management contracts issued by NSSF? The Communication Authority of Kenya, Universal Service Fund, has recently approved the transfer of 45 billion Kenya shillings to the National Intelligence Service, allegedly for the procurement of an ICT system whose market value is only 2.5 billion. This approval was given by the then chairperson of the Communications Authority in the hope that her business loan would be repaid from the proceeds. As explained earlier, China Road and Bridge Company, CRBC from China, is the major conveyor of corruption in Kenya and is the recipient of projects worth 1.2 trillion, namely the Naivasha, Malaba, SGR, Mombasa SGR, JKI modernization projects, Talanta Stadium, Southern Bypass, Eastern Bypass, Western Bypass, Makuba Bridge, and Bomas of Kenya, among others. Patriotic Kenyans, over the last 4 years, Mr. William Ruto has systematically eroded the values, principles, and institutional structures of Kenya's public service that was built to ensure an efficient, ethical, and representative government workforce. Today, the public service is demotivated and has taken a back seat, as William Ruto single-handedly runs the operations of government without any professional input from our dedicated civil servants. No wonder government programs are launched and they are after repackaged for another launch. Dear Kenyans, the Church of Christ has been a major casualty of William Ruto's deception. On 5th May 2022, he executed a charter between the churches and the Kenya Kwanza Coalition. He committed that his administration would protect the freedom of worship in Kenya and respect the church as a societal partner in national development. Fast forward to 2026, he has introduced punitive legislation through the Religious Organization Bill 2024, aimed at controlling the activities of the church. He has also increased fees required to carry out official activities. Who can forget the 2026 brutal murder of Reverend Julius Dumia of Nakuru PCA? Who will ever forget the attacks on Wetima ACK Church? Who will ever forget the attack of All Saints Cathedral? On 4th October 2020, William Ruto, then Deputy President, was expected at AIPCA Church in Keno. Police officers tear gas the church. At the time, William Ruto said, the Jubilee administration is a product of kneeling and prayer before many altars in Kenya. It cannot be the same administration is now going to tear gas the church and disgrace our altars in Kenya. William Ruto then said, today, as president, the church is a serious attack. He has taken the attack to the church a notch higher, beyond tear gas, live fire, torching of cannot be forgotten. Mr. William Ruto has completely betrayed the Church of Christ that prayed him into government. The economic burden on ordinary Kenyan worker has also increased. The Federation of Kenyan Employers has also reported that in 4 years, a number of local and international companies either closed operations or exited the Kenyan market. These include CMC Motors, Base Titanium, Nakumat, Twiga Industries, Dilaru, Jumia Foods, and Hilton Hotels. Today, households continue to experience severe financial squeeze due to cumulative tax charges, high utility costs, transport costs, and a stagnant job market that has limited formal opportunities. While in office as Deputy President of the Republic, I championed the restoration and the recognition of prior learning program as an avenue to increase opportunities and income for non-certified but skilled Kenyans that are the providers of goods and services that we consume as a nation. Further, I developed a framework of cooperation and engagement between Nairobi City County Government, Nairobi County Traders, KRA, Anti-Counterfeit Authority, and the Kenya Bureau of Standards. The objective of the framework was to A, provide a platform for resolution of disputes arising out of trading activities and the informal sector, foster goodwill, cooperation, and consultation between the parties, recognize the importance of collaboration in achieving shared goals in the informal sector, and promotion and improvement of the well-being of traders and their micro, small, medium enterprises. What happened? As soon as I left office, William Ruto and Nairobi City Governor Johnson Sakaja abandoned this framework. You all remember that on 8th August 2022, a liter of super petrol retailed at 159 shillings. A liter of diesel retailed at Kenya shillings 140. As we speak today, the price of super petrol is 214 Kenya shillings and diesel 222.86 for a liter of diesel, representing an increase of 34.05% and 59.18% respectively. These increases have been contributed to higher transport costs, increased food prices, and a greater pressure on household incomes. Kenyans will recall that on April 2026, I exposed the opaque nature of the government-to-government framework and detailed its contribution to an increased landed cost of fuel products. The whole scheme and con game were nothing like G to G. It is government route. What I'm saying in a nutshell is that the high cost of fuel has nothing to do with the international prices. It has everything to do with business interest of William Ruto, where he is a key player of oil importation and distribution in the country. The average Kenyan worker loses between 45 and 50% of their monthly earnings that are deducted through punitive levies and taxes, leaving significantly less disposable income for their households. For example, a teacher in Wajir earning a gross salary of 50,000 in 2022 took home approximately 42,000 Kenya shillings. Today, under William Ruto, the same teacher who is making 50,000 takes home 38,000, while facing substantially higher food, fuel, transport costs, reduced school capitation, and increased challenges in accessing health care. Coupled with the rising cost of petroleum products, the Kenya Kwanza covenant to put money into people's pocket is nothing but a pipe dream. If anything, Mr. William Ruto has achieved the complete opposite and has taken money out of Kenyans' pockets, leaving them with a reduced net disposable income. This covenant was central to the plan to improve the lives of Kenyans. As the party leader of DCP, I once again called on this government to cushion the payslip by suspending the affordable housing levy and reducing the payee tax burdens. This, together with the review of petroleum price framework, taxes charged will give Kenyans an increased net income. A punitive and unpredictable taxation regime is one of the principal causes of the high cost of living. William Ruto should lead from the front and actualize his promise made in the wake of the 2024 Gen Z protest to reduce government recurrent expenditure. State House does not need 18 billion Kenya shillings for 12 months. These funds could be used to subsidize rising fuel and food costs for the benefit of Kenyans. Or better still, these funds can be used to ensure farmers in arid and semi-arid lands have access to clean water